Hey friends, it's my first video in a while, and actually my first video on my new phone, which I am fond of calling a rectangle. It's so nice to call it what it is, which is a rectangle. It's not just a phone. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about threadapalooza, because I'll be hosting threadapalooza this year. It's a real privilege, thanks to the previous hosts for asking me to do so. I've done threadapalooza, I think 4 out of the 5 years that it's existed. This will be the 6th year. There was 1 year that I missed, but I was there the first year when Venkatesh sort of incited a lot of people to do a thread of 1 tweet per like, and people did these 100 tweet threads. And then the first year I did one on meditation practice and tips for your meditation practice, and that ended up becoming a blog post. I turned it into a blog post, and which is still quite good. Probably I'd frame some of those things differently now, but I think most of the advice is pretty solid. It's just been a really beloved tradition for me and for others who are on Twitter and in our neck of the woods, where you get to dive deep into something you're excited about and share that with the world. There's been a lot of really lovely threads over the years, and I'm so glad it kind of became a tradition. Venkatesh passed it to Visa, and I think Sonia and Malcolm and Loopy, and this year it'll be me hosting. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about it and why it's so exciting and what an opportunity it is, and hopefully that will incite some of you to post a thread. I think for me, it's an exciting way to dive deeper into something that I am curious about, or that I love or enjoy, and to share that with other people. And it is a fair bit of effort to make 100 tweets, but it's kind of lower effort than one of my blog posts, for example, especially some of the more involved ones. Like, it was easier that first year to write just 100 tweets about meditation practice and then turn it into a blog post, rather than go straight into writing the blog post. And it kind of constrained the frame a little bit. At the time, I think it was still 140 characters per tweet, if I'm not mistaken, and rather than 280. So there's just only so much you could fit in a tweet, and that made it simpler. And I've really enjoyed the other years that I've done it too. I've kind of been playful with it. There was a year where I did questions, just general conversation starters, the things I was excited to talk to people about, and that was useful to reflect on different things I might enjoy talking about. And then the next year I asked specific mutuals, specific questions, and I loved hearing what people said in response. And I think that showed different people interests and expertises of their mutuals that they might not have known about. And then last year, I sort of reframed some of my favorite tweets in my own words and put them in my own words. And I just found that to be a really valuable writing exercise to digest something that had been really meaningful for me and impactful, and put it in my own words and kind of further cement it in my own mind. I'm still working out what I'm going to do this year, but it's just a really great opportunity as a writer and a thinker and a learner to explore something more deeply. And I've been looking back at different threads, and one that I've been really inspired by is last year, James Stuber, my friend James, who I made the digital productivity coach with, amongst other collaborative projects that we've done together. He made a thread on ADHD, and I think it got like 3,000 something likes, and people really responded to it. And I don't know if that's the biggest Threadapalooza thread or not. Like, it's probably up there, but got a lot of response, and he did such a great job with it, and it really resonated with people. He started out with his own story and sort of summarized the things that he learned right at the beginning so that it was impactful. And he put a lot of images in the thread so that it was sort of compelling. And he'd really done his research. He'd learned a lot about ADHD and how that impacted his own life and what one could do about it. And it was really actionable and helpful for people. So, it can be kind of low stakes where you just try it and see if you can get to 100. And if you don't worry. It's not a test that you're going to pass or fail or something like that. But if you want to, you kind of get out what you put in. And if you want to put a fair bit of effort into it and you really think about, what topic would I like to pick and how do I want to frame it? I think it's something that could be a really big opportunity for people where, if there's something that you're an expert in or something that you've learned about or something you just really want to share with the world, that if you put a lot of time and effort and care into constructing this, people will really respond to it and they'll read your thread and, they'll know, oh, you're the person that talked about that. And like the magic of the internet always does, there'll be spontaneous things that come of it that you couldn't have planned otherwise. You'll make friendships or build collaborative relationships, or, you'll get opportunities that you might have otherwise, or develop some professional connection that might not have been possible otherwise. Or, you'll learn new ideas. You'll share what you already know about a topic and other people point you to new things. It's hard to know in advance what will happen, but as I like to say from a strategy perspective, from the Taoist strategy perspective, it's the conditions for good consequences. So, and it's just a lot of fun. I think writing is fun, and I think these ideas are fun, and sharing it with people and seeing how people respond to it. It's just a lot of fun, and it's a good time, and it's also a service. I think depends what you pick and how you play, but sharing a lot of thoughts about an idea that really matters to you, there are going to be other people that really resonate with that too and benefit from what you have to share. I think, Hinterlander the other day was posting about how he wants to do something about like water management, I think, which is not something I know a lot about, but he was like, oh, probably only 3 people will be interested. And I was like, oh, there'll be more than 3. And a few people already popped up and were like, oh, I'm going to be very interested in that. And I think that'll be, even the most niche, obscure topic that you think only you're interested in, there are going to be other people that are going to be interested in it too, that will resonate with it. And if nothing else, even if no one reads your thread, which they will, just articulating to yourself what you think about a topic, or collecting the resources you have it on, or compiling that, curating it, is already really helpful just for your own learning process and your own thinking and digesting on a topic. And even if no one ever saw it, that's already really valuable and leads to things that you wouldn't have expected otherwise. So, it's fun, it's useful, it helps people, it's of service. So I hope that you'll consider doing a thread. People have asked a few different questions that I'll try to answer off the top of my head, but one thing is, please tag the threadapalooza account. We have the threadapalooza account, and I'll be manning that for the month. And just tag us in the first tweet. Say, hey, this is my threadapalooza thing, and that way we can share it or promote it or like your tweets and stuff like that. And other people will be like, oh, that's what this is, and just tag it in the first one. Make sure to untag it in the later ones so we don't get notifications for all 100 tweets. I think I did that one year. I accidentally tagged all of them, and Malcolm was like, oh, this is a lot. So if that happens, it's not the end of the world. But so do that. And I also recommend indexing them. This really helps. So that way you can count the tweets. This is something that Visa's always on about. If you've got a lot of something, it's useful to index. And so we're trying to go for 100 tweets. You're going to lose count. So just from the beginning, go 1 dot, this is the first tweet, 2 dot, and feel free to, play with it or whatever. That's the general spirit of the thing, is there's this invitation to do this. But as Visa said one year, it's internet rules. Like, you can do whatever you want. It's your account, write 10 tweets, write 1,000 tweets, write 2 different threads. I don't know. There's no real rules. There's an invitation to do it a certain way, but you get to decide how you want to play. If you're not sure what to write about, first off, if you're my mutual, I'm happy to, in the DMs, talk to you. Or you can just ask your mutuals in general, hey, what would you be interested in hearing from me about? I also put out a poll today of like, hey, here's a few options that I'm thinking about doing. And you can do the same thing of like, which one would you find interesting? And that feedback is really useful of like, oh, most people would be interested in this. Got it. So it's worth putting some thought into, what you want to talk about and how you want to frame it. If you want, you can just start it and see how it goes and see if you get to 100. Plenty of people don't finish the whole thing, and that's fine. Nobody's going to judge you or punish you. As I said, it's not a school assignment that you pass or fail or something like that. So, On the other hand, if you want to put a fair bit of work into it, something you can do is, like, say, make a Google Doc and write it in advance, and even pick out which images you want to use or something like that, and share it with friends and get feedback on what you're saying. That can be really useful. Just collecting your thoughts ahead of time. And also, you can write it off the cuff while you go, just on the phone app or on the web app or whatever, that's fine. But it can also be worth, making a note in advance and writing it in advance. You can write it all in one go and do it all in one day. I think that's kind of how it happened originally, as most people that first year in 2019 were in the matter of a few days, like just going for it and spending a few hours. And that's a fun way to do it, to just, lock in, as they say these days, and do it for a few hours. But it can also be fun to spread it out, and that can make it more manageable, something like 3 tweets a day. And, in practice, probably you do it in batches where there's maybe 4 or 5 days that you do 15, 20, 30 tweets, something like that. So that can make it more manageable than doing 100 tweets in one go. But there's no rules. You do it the way you want to do it. Do what's fun for you. And that's actually, as I like to say, what's actually going to be of most benefit. So fun is the compass. Yeah, those are some thoughts. Feel free to @ me or DM me or whatever if you have other questions, or at the threadapalooza account, and hope you submit something. Oh, a few people have asked, since there's multiple sort of Twitter alikes at this point, Blue Sky and Mastodon and Threads and whatever. Feel free to do it wherever. Substack, Notes, your website. No wrong way to do it. So it'll be cool to see if there's some stuff happening on the other sites as well. And, it's sort of like a nerd's holiday. So more nerding out is good. And we'd love to see what you make. So hope you'll consider making a Threadapalooza thread. And also, please, like different people's threads and encourage them. Like, if there's a topic that's interesting to you, really read it and support the people who are putting it out there, and maybe share it with someone that you think would like it. That's really a great thing to do. And we can all help each other in this way, and support each other. And even if you're not interested in the topic, just being like celebrating someone and the fact that they did this deep dive into something that they care about. And so, like and retweet and comment and share, and that way we all benefit. So, all right, that's Threadapalooza. It's going to be a good month in December. It's, throughout the month, and I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody does. All right, take care, friends.